welcome to the 41st episode of the What Shara Made podcast. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer, and a big hello if you're a brand new viewer this episode. I've got one FO, quite a few whips, and I've got two FOs. And I might as well just jump straight in with my whips. I've got 5 million pairs of socks on the go. I still haven't quite finished this because I've been busy playing with other new cast-ons. And this is the Wildflowers sock by the Sweater Collective, which is part of the Sister Socks Cal that's going at the moment, and the beautiful yarn I bought in a kit from Dingo Dye Works, and oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's beautiful to work with, and I just love the colours. They're so beautiful. Look at them. Oh my goodness. But I haven't got much further than when I showed you this in the last episode, so I better get cracking on those if I want to put them in the cowl. So that was a short whip because not much had happened with it. My next whip, you'll remember from the last episode, my Apple socks that I'm knitting for my mum for Christmas. She doesn't know she's getting them, but I don't think she watches the podcast, so it should be fine. If for some reason you are watching the podcast, Mum, just act surprised on Christmas morning. Thanks. So that's the Apple socks. They're coming along nicely in this yarn. They look beautiful. And I believe in the last episode I said that when I first started knitting with this yarn, which is Hawthorn Fingering from Knit Picks, I did not like the way that it felt. It felt really yucky in my hands. I didn't like it. It was making my skin crawl. It turns out that was only because I was knitting with hot sweaty hands, because I was knitting while I was out and about and it was a really hot day. Because since I've been knitting on it since then, without hot sweaty hands, it's beautiful and it feels gorgeous, and it's got a beautiful woolly feel to it, and I absolutely love it, and it's knitting up so beautifully in such a lovely fabric. Oh, Mum's gonna love these. As you can see, this sock is finished all by the Kitchenering, and I tend to leave that. I often finish the toe. This seems to be a bit of a theme. I finish the toe late at night because I am almost finished while I'm knitting in the evenings, and I think I'll just go until I finish that toe, and then it's too late at night for me to do Kitchenering, and I like to do it in good light and when I'm not really tired, because I like it to look beautiful. So I have left the Kitchenering, but I've started the second sock. So there we go. That's coming along nicely, and I'm not that far. Oh yes, I am. I thought I wasn't that far away from starting the heel, but I am. So I've got some knitting to do on those if I want to get them ready before Christmas Day. I haven't worked on them for the last few days, so that's not helping that situation. And that's all that's in this amazing bag from Girl So Sheepy. Oh my god, I love it so much. My next whip is a pair of socks as well. And this pair of socks was my birthday cast on because it was my birthday this week, and I had a lovely day. I went out for lunch with my folks, and we went to one particular place that I really like, and I thought that would be a great place to have my birthday lunch, but when we got there they were closed, so we didn't have lunch there. We went to a place a few doors up, and it was awesome, so that was fine. It was a nice surprise birthday lunch, and that place where we had lunch just happens to be right next door to a pretty cool fabric shop, and I'll talk about that later. get back to my whips now. Now these socks were my birthday cast on. How cool are those? Oh my god, I love them so much. And the yarn I'm using is a self-striping yarn that's been poorly wound by me. And it is the Hobart self-striping colourway from Rose Hip Knits. And it is so beautiful. It's more beautiful than I could have imagined. Oh god, I love it so much, Hannah. So pretty. And the contrasting yarn that I'm using is actually a yarn that my sister brought me back after she went on a holiday to Tasmania, where Rose Hip Knits is from. So I thought I would combine my two Tasmanian yarns in my birthday socks. So I'm really enjoying working on these, and I might keep these. I'm going camping next week, and I think these could be good camp knitting because they're just a vanilla sock, so nothing too taxing on the brain. So that's that whip. My next whip is a bit of a design whip experiment. I'm pulling it off the needles here. I don't really want to lose a stitch, so I'll try and rescue it before I get too far. It's a bit of a design whip and a bit of an experiment, and I'm trying out a few things that I've wanted to work on for a while now. Just hold on, and I'm back. There was someone at the door. Now, I have got, I don't know how well it's going to show up on screen, but I guess we'll find out. It doesn't look like much a present, but you'll get it, I think. This is it here. Oh, it's showing up beautifully on screen, actually. So you can see the chevron around the band, and this is done using mosaic knitting, which I'm pretty keen on at the moment, and I think mosaic knitting might be the new brioche knitting. I keep seeing it popping up everywhere, so I think mosaic knitting, if it wasn't already the new stitch for 2016, it's going to be the 2017 stitch technique. You heard it here first. So you can see there, if I just get that shadow out the way. So if you're not familiar with mosaic knitting, it's colour work that only uses one colour per round, and it involves slip stitches to get the colour interaction, and it's very easy. So you get a lot of bang for your buck with mosaic knitting. It's not taxing, and it looks beautiful. But the other thing I wanted to try out on this that I've been busting to do is Latvian braids. I don't know if this is really the right light and contrast, but this here is my Latvian braid. I've also done one down here on the cast on, which I kind of messed up, but I'm not unravelling it. This is just a prototype and a bit of an experiment, so I don't mind if that one's a little bit unusual. But this one up the top worked beautifully. I don't know how well... It's not a particularly... The colours aren't very high contrast, so it is a little bit difficult to see. It does look more striking in a high contrast pair of yarns, but you get the idea. And then I'm just doing single row stripes for the rest of the hat, which will come up and decrease for the crown. But I'm really happy with this so far. I like the thick bands because that's going to go over your ears and your forehead where you tend to feel the cold the most. And the it's a really good pattern for using up scraps, I've discovered, because this is just stash yarn that I've had hanging around and wasn't sure what I was going to do with two single 50-gram balls of DK weight yarn. Not quite enough to make a hat out of one colour, so I knew I had to combine the two colours, and it's come up beautifully. I love yellow and grey together, you would know that by now. So I think this is just gorgeous. But with this whip, I was so excited about this hat working out like I'd imagined that I started going through my stash to find more yarns that would work together, and I thought this could be a good opportunity to use some hand spun that's been hanging around. So this is my hand spun, beautifully wound as usual. Get a better idea of the colours there. That's quite colour accurate. It's beautiful jewel tones, and this was my first attempt at chain plying some hand spun, and this is all done on a drop spindle, which was quite the effort, I can tell you. It was chain plied on the fly on a Turkish spindle, and that means that you are drafting it, making the singles, and then almost immediately you are plying it, chain plying it as you go. And it's quite an interesting technique, and it's reasonably easy. It's not tricky. If you know how to chain ply, then you can do it. And trust me, if you've never done chain plying before, it is nowhere near as tricky as you're imagining. So give it a go if you've been avoiding it. And it makes a lovely 3-ply yarn. Now this one is a little bit thick and thin. You can probably get a bit of an idea here. It's not exactly straight, and this was one of the very first yarns that I hand spun, and I'm very happy with it. And I have to say, it did pose a few challenges when I was spinning this, because the fibre, although the colours are just sensational, and it's a merino, 100% merino, the fibre was partially felted when I got it, but I didn't know that, and it was packaged up in a plastic bag that I couldn't open prior to purchasing. So I didn't know, and I wasn't aware of those sorts of things back then. I had only just started spinning when I bought this yarn, this fibre, sorry, and I didn't realise that felting was something that you should look out for. And if I had have known that, if I'd had more experience, I could have probably been able to tell that from looking at the fibre in the bag. Anyway, I struggled through it, and it was a massive struggle. I lost at least 25 grams from this 100-gram braid to felting, and that was after like trying to rescue lots of it, which was just really a waste of time. I shouldn't have bothered, but yeah, so it is only about 75 grams in here, and I can't remember the meterage. I've got it written down somewhere, but I know it's going to be enough to do one of those hats. And I'm going to combine it with this gorgeous yarn. Look at that. And this yarn is, I believe it's called Duchess, and it's from Oyster Yarns, which are available through the Pearl Box. And I think they're going to look quite beautiful together. And I can't wait to finish that one so I can start this one. I think this might be camp knitting as well. I think that will be a nice relaxing knit that's got a little bit more to it than a vanilla sock. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Ooh, sparkles. Now, that is all my whips. My next thing I should move on to is probably some FOs. And I'll start with this FO, and you would have seen it in my last episode as a whip. And I finally finished and blocked it. Or did you see this? I may have... No, maybe I haven't shown you this. Anyway, here it is. So it is not going to fit in the screen, as you can tell. It's got little tassels on it, and it's a simple granny square triangle. So it's basically half a granny square. Very quick and easy, but quite effective, and I think the tassels really make it. So if we have a look here, Oh yeah, that's lovely. It's really grown in blocking. You might remember me talking about my 3 friends that are very knit worthy and crochet worthy, and I was making them all Christmas presents. I made the green shawl for my friend and the knitted green shawl with the holes. Anyway, and this is the same yarn, the Bellissimo Amalfi, and it's a cotton bamboo blend, and it's beautiful. Oh my god, it actually feels gorgeous. Oh, and I have to make myself one of these, but I really love the simplicity of this little granny square triangle with the tassels. It's really effective, easy to wear because you don't have to think about placement, and grey goes with everything. So I figured this is a good one for my friend who's not really into lacy, tizzy coloured things. She mainly wears grey. So I thought, fine, I'll stick with that. That is a good inspiration and base to work from to make a present for someone. So that is this one. You can easily find hundreds of patterns for granny square triangles. They're not squares anymore because they're triangles, but you know what I mean. Have a look around on Pinterest if it's something that you want to think about. It's also a really cool way to use up scraps if you've got lots and lots of different ones. Instead of making a scrappy blanket or a Cozy Memories blanket, you could make a scrappy crochet shawl. It would look really cool. All the different colours. Oh, it's giving me ideas. Anyway, that's that FO. And my next FO I am wearing. Might be able to tell. It's got pockets. Yay! So this is my little dress that I have made. Yeah, you might. Earlier when I was saying that I went out to lunch for my birthday, and the place where we went to was next to a really cool fabric shop, and it's one that I used to go to a lot years ago, but I hadn't been there for maybe 2 or 3 years actually since I've been there, and they have lots of very interesting fabrics, lots of end of lines, last bolt from the manufacturer. They're an independent store, so they just have all sorts of wacky stuff, and there was about 12 fabrics that I wanted to buy in there that I just thought I can't live without them, but I was trying to be sensible because I already do have a lot of fabric, so I contained myself and just got one, and it was this bee fabric. I don't know if you can see, it's got bees on it. And you know I love bees, and there was no way I could leave bee fabric behind, and I needed a new black dress because I don't have enough. So I thought, why don't I get a few meters of that and try and make myself a dress. And I had a whole day to myself this week, the day after my birthday, and I thought I'm going to dedicate that to sewing, and I managed to draft a pattern and make a whole dress, and now it fits and I really love it. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with these sleeves yet. I might have to, I don't know, do some experimentation. They're a bit kind of, I don't know, I'm not used to wearing things with this sort of sleeve, but I think the little wing sleeves kind of work well with the bee theme. And it is a bit deep in the armholes, but never mind. It was indeed a prototype, so you're going to figure out these sorts of things when you make that, and you can adjust them for the next one, but it's not unwearable. It's definitely wearable, and I'm considering wearing it either tonight to a Christmas party that I'm attending, or maybe tomorrow to a little birthday party that I'm having. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. I really quite like it, but we'll see how that goes. I am definitely going to make another one. I've got fabrics already in my stash that I think would be suitable for this design and shape. And it's just got a zip up the back, which, miracle of all miracles, I managed to put in properly the first time. Absolute miracle. I couldn't believe it. When I was doing it, I'm like, it's working, it's really working. And then I got all the way. I was like, it works, it looks good, and there's no like bunched up areas. Oh, so excited. So if for nothing else, I'm just gonna wear it around because the zip worked. Did I mention it's got pockets? Everyone loves pockets in their dresses, right? If I find a dress, the first thing I look for is, has it got pockets? Yes, sold. I struggle immensely with dresses that don't have pockets, but anyway, so I thought I would put pockets in mine, and I'm really pleased that I did. I think that's all for FOs. Yeah, it is. I'm just looking around here at all my stuff spread out, and that is all I've got for FOs. The next thing, it's a whip, but I've left it till last because it's also a dyeing theme as well. I am starting, not that you can tell from this tiny little piece that I cast on last night at about midnight. But this little piece here is the very beginnings of the Eyeball Shawl by Stephen West Knits, and hopefully I will insert a picture here. And we're back. And I'm using this colour, which is Wallaroo by Dingo Dye Works, for the pupil and the border. Oh my gosh, it's so lovely, so nice. And this I dyed up to be my iris, and I originally did it just this, sort of just this colour here, the darker sort of olive green, and it was beautiful, but it was a bit flat, and I wanted something with a bit more vibrance so that the iris wouldn't be flat. It'd have, a bit of interest in the colour. Just like a real iris in your eye doesn't have flat, solid colour. It's lots of different colours, and it's very tonal. And so I thought this might be quite good for the iris. And this is going to be for the white of the eye. I cannot even think what that is called. The white of the eye. So that's this one. I've got these three together, and I think that's going to make a gorgeous shawl, and I just love that it is shaped like an eye. And if you want to wear it spread out, wrapped around your shoulders, you might be able to tell that it's an eye, but if you wear it sort of bunched up a little bit like a scarf, you won't be able to see that it's an eye until you unfurl it, and I like that little bit of mystery. I like it. So I think these three are going to make a lovely shawl together, and I'm really excited about knitting it. Last night, once I did this little beginning, just because I wanted to see how it, worked, and I got into bed, and all I could think about was getting up so I could start knitting on this again. So that's what I'm going to do as soon as I finish up filming, is knit a bit more on this. And I think that's all my creative things. The only other thing that I have been doing in the last few days is some baking, and I've been baking little bags of biscuits or cookies using the recipe for the ginger cookies from the Grocery Girls, and that recipe is in their Ravelry group. You'll see it, it's right at the top because people keep commenting on it because it's so amazing. And I made those last night, and the house smelled divine. And they taste pretty good too. They're quite a full-on flavour, but I love that. that's right up my alley. So I have made these and packaged them up to take to my Christmas party that I'm attending tonight. And I think it's going to be a really great night. We're going to a local winery and they're supplying the wine, obviously, and some local beers as well. And one of our friends who's coming to the party is a chef, and he's making all the food and bringing it along, and we're sort of having a big picnic, I suppose, but at night time, with wine and beer and delicious food. So I thought I would take these along for the other guests. I've got some other gifts for a few different people there, but everyone's going to get some of those cookies. And we're all getting picked up by a bus. They've the person organising the party has organised a bus for us, so that's coming around to pick us all up and take us to the winery, so no one has to drive or try and figure out how they're going to get home, which is just fantastic. I love that idea, and it's always so much fun arriving together to a thing like that. I love it. Anyway, I think that is everything. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze in another episode before Christmas, and that's simply because I don't know that I'm going to get any time to myself to film. The house is going to be pretty full, like most people's houses at Christmas time, and I think it could be a bit of a challenge, but I'll try my best. But just in case I don't get another episode in before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas if that's your thing, and enjoy spending time with the people that you love, and I hope it's safe and calm and wonderful. And if I don't get an episode in before Christmas, this is possibly my last episode for 2016, because I am going camping straight after Christmas, and I don't think I'll be able to upload an episode of the podcast while I'm away. I might do some little snippets if I can find some internet, but where we're going, I don't think there'll be enough internet to upload something to YouTube, but I'll try my best. And so have a happy new year, just in case I don't see you, and I hope to see you all again in 2017. And I've got a few ideas for a year-long knit-along that's slightly different than the one that I did this year. And if I don't get another episode filmed before the end of the year, I will announce the winner of the December year-long stash busting craft along in the first episode of 2017. So you've still got lots of time to fill in, enter in your information for your stash busting crafts that you are doing into that thread in the Ravelry group. So give that a look if you have been playing along. You might want to enter in anything that you had forgot to do during the year, because the prize is going to be quite nice for the final one. And congratulations to everyone who took part in that, because it's always so satisfying to get some stash out of the basket or cupboard or drawer, wherever you keep it, and into a product. So that's good. And I will see you all again very soon. Bye. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me because it's quite blowy up here, but I wanted to show you where I am. It's quite spectacular. Look at that, you can see the vineyards in the background there. It's very windy.